What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. Bring you Ravens content every single day, in addition to basically these OTA training camp, rookie mini camp update videos that I give whenever we have press conferences or news about what happened at OTAs or training camp. Because honestly, I felt like reading through 4 different articles and finding all the reporters' tweets to see what they say, and sometimes you don't have time to listen to the press conferences. I would basically bring that all together, give you the important stuff that I felt like. But as always, if you want to see more information, obviously you can go check out the press conferences and things like that. But this is what I felt was the most important to go over. And so let's get into it. Today is June 2nd. And I'll start with the press conferences. As always, the following players spoke to the media. It was Tyus Bowser and Sammy Watkins. And here were the biggest things that I felt came out of those press conferences. Tyus Bowser talked about how he wants to be more of a vocal leader, which is great, considering Joshua and I's segment that we did on Ravens needing vocal leaders came out like a couple days ago. So it's very good to see that he does want to take that next step. And then Tyus Bowser did say that Dalen Hayes reminds him a lot of himself, which is a comparison that I have made multiple times, and I'm glad to see that Tyus is able to see it. And since he wants to be that young mentor, it's going to be a great comparison for him to just be able to work with Dalen a lot in particular, just because they are similar players in terms of their athleticism, coverage ability to get after the quarterback on the edge. That was pretty much it for the Tyus Bowser stuff. It was a little bit shorter. As an older player, it's not, the news isn't as big. Whereas the next guy was Sammy Watkins. This one was around 10 minutes long. There were a ton of questions trying to compare the Chiefs to the Ravens or Mahomes to Lamar and things like that. Sammy really didn't give any insights into it. It's not like he went out and was like, yeah, Lamar's better than Mahomes. And he wasn't coming out and being like, oh, the Chiefs are better than the Ravens. No, he was just like, yeah, teams that are ready and want to go after the Super Bowl. That's pretty much all he said. And there were like 3 or 4 questions that were like that. Then, he talked about Bateman a little bit, and he was impressed with Bateman. He even called him he said he was very special, said he runs every route at a professional level, and talked about how, mentoring him, as a former first-round wide receiver. And then also, there is Hollywood. He didn't talk about Hollywood as a former first-round wide receiver, but talked about Bateman a little bit. He did talk about how having Keith Williams and T. Martin is going to be absolutely incredible for the young players. He talked about how having, kind of a wide receiver guru, as long as, just a great coach kind of going hand in hand and just helping out those young guys, it's going to really help not just them, but for everybody. It says that's something that's very, very important to this young team, which, another major factor from the Ravens offseason was bringing them in. And then the final thing that Sammy kind of brought up was that he said that the Ravens were probably the best team for himself that he's ever chosen. So, he's very happy to be in Baltimore, and that's very good. But now let's get into the non-press conference news. A lot of this stuff is from Jamison Hensley, so shout out Jamison Hensley from ESPN. But Lamar looked very good. He was slinging the ball around, playing very well. Basically, he was Lamar. But there were some drops in practice. There were 3 from Eli Wolf, 2 from Miles Boykin, 2 from the new acquisition, Sammy Watkins, which is unfortunate. But first practice, I don't know. We'll see. But, it's nice to see Miles Boykin on there because supposedly last week he was absolutely balling out. But the biggest news from today, it's the title of the thing, is that there was a fight. Patrick Macari and Justin Madubuike. Sorry, when I made the Justin Madubuike video last time, I'm horrible at pronouncing names. If you've been watching the channel for a while, I'm bad. I believe I'm saying it correctly now. Justin Madubuike. They were separated. Still don't really know exactly what was going on. Most likely, center, defensive tackle, they go after it. And then, that's what happened. They had to be separated. I haven't heard anything about like punches thrown or anything like that, but they had to pull them away from each other. And then here's kind of the notable players that were missing: Marlon Humphrey, Calais Campbell, Marcus Peters, the Joker. And then also some other news. T. Martin, big fan of Rashad Bateman. It seems like every Ravens coach is a big fan of Rashad Bateman. But then also Drew Wilkins, the Ravens outside linebacker coach, talked about how Odafe Oweh seemingly gets better after every rep. Every time they do something a second time, he's better at it, which just shows his development, his willingness to learn, and, his commitment to the game. So that's it for today's video. Subscribe for daily Ravens content. Well, actually, this is today's second video, but if you want to see these different, off-season updates, make sure to hit that subscribe, make sure to hit that bell. comment your thoughts on the fight. Comment your thoughts on, anything that you saw in the press conferences. And I will see all of you again tomorrow.